What is up, people? It is me, Monster58, and welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio series, Transformers 1 Deluxe Class Megatron, as he appeared in the Transformers 1 movie. Now, when it comes to this character, I've put all of my thoughts and, sort of my reactions, first thoughts and reviews on the movie. If you'd like to see that, so I'll leave a link to that down below if you'd like to do that, or a card in the upper right as well. But, taking a look at Megatron here, he does look great with his artwork. You see the nice Transformers 1 logo, the Transformers Generations, Transformers here, Studio Series 114. More nice artwork here of Megatron as he appeared in the movie. More nice artwork here, and then your obligatory product shots. This box looks fantastic, and you also get the background, which is, I believe, during one of the final scenes in the movie, which is when D16 ends up becoming, or fully becomes Megatron, and so with that all out of the way, I think that's it for the box, and as per usual, Hasbro kills it with the box art, and so without further ado, alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Deluxe Class Megatron out of the box and in his tank mode, and I gotta say, he does look really, really cool. The only issue I really have, there's two issues I have with this tank mode. One, there's no wheels to roll this thing. As you can see when we're looking at the bottom here, there are no wheels whatsoever. There's, like, places where there could be wheels, but they just didn't bother to mold those in, which kind of sucks. And the other thing, too, is that despite the fact that the turret is really good, this tends to be pretty loose. So, as you can see, it's just pegged in on this little tab right here, or this little hole right here with this little tab right here. And even though it usually sits on fine, sometimes when you move it around, even a little bit too rough, or a little bit rough, this thing tends to get unpegged really easily, and that's a bit annoying. But overall, it does look really good. Now, we don't see Megatron's tank mode for an insanely large amount of time in the movie, but for the most part, to my understanding and my recollection, this looks really, really good. As you can see, some very nice molded detail across the board for a deluxe class figure. I do really like the tank barrel and everything like that. I think that looks good. The treads are nicely molded. Here, there is a bit of a color difference, but that's because this is going to be one of his, these are his hands, essentially. Well, overall, again, it looks good, and for the most part, until you actually, like, do this, you wouldn't really be able to tell that this guy is a Transformer. The tank mode looks pretty convincing, and as a Cybertronian tank, I think it looks really good. You also have these. So these bits here are actually just accessories that you can peg on, but I like keeping them on. I never usually remove these, but he can wield these, and I'll explain that in robot mode. But obviously, you can just unpeg these and put them in his hands. But I like to keep them on his back for the turret, especially when he is in tank mode. I just like to keep him what will become his backpack. You know, this was his jetpack in the movie. So really cool stuff all around. I'm very, very happy with the tank mode, and so for the articulation for the tank mode, this thing can go up about that far. It can't really go down, but you can do a full 360 with this thing. Again, just be careful with getting it unpegged, because again, like I said, this thing tends to get unpegged if you're a little bit rough with it, so just be careful with that. But overall, when it comes to a tank mode, I think this is a pretty solid tank mode. And so we're going to be doing our comparison, so we'll set Megatron off to the side here. And actually, the only comparison we're going to do today is with the Deluxe Class Transformers 1 Optimus Prime. And this is really, really cool. These two scale perfectly fine together. They are pretty much exactly the same size, obviously the Deluxe scale, but it is really nice to see, you know, the once best friends turn bitter enemies, you know. These guys hate each other, right? And so you can see the size differences here. I'm going to do something like that so you guys can see more. And we'll do something like that so you guys can also see the size comparison. But these two scale very well together. I'm very, very happy to have these two together in the collection. And I think if you wanted some figures to just represent your Transformers 1 display, these Deluxe Class figures, or just the movie in general, excuse me, these figures are honestly a home run so far. And I really, really like it. And you'll see that when it comes to this guy's robot mode. Alrighty, folks, and time to get into the transformation. And so getting into the transformation, it's really pretty nice. It's not simple, but it's also not frustratingly difficult at all. It's just definitely really nice for a deluxe class figure to have a transformation like this. So starting off, what we're going to do is I'm going to remove the tank barrel. So just lift this up, and then you can remove the tank barrel. Now you can choose to remove this piece if you want to. For the transformation, I'll try my best to keep it on without knocking it off. And then what you're going to want to do with the tank barrels, you're going to want to split the front and this, which will become his fusion cannon. So we'll just set this off to the side for now. Then from here, what you're going to do, I like to take what will become his legs and then accordion these and unpeg them. So unpeg these and accordion them away. And then I like to lift them up, and then you can get the feet going. So what I like to do, you can lift each of the treads up, rotate all the way around, push the treads back down. So rotate all the way around. You can push the treads back down like so. Then you're going to fold the foot down like that, and then you're just going to take this and close it up. Then you can take this section insert to rotate it up and unpeg it. And then what you'll do here is you can take this entire section and you can rotate that section up. Now let me move it up a little bit. Rotate it up like so. And then this will peg in like so. Then you can rotate this all the way around. If it won't, yeah, there we go. Rotate that around. Rotate the head around as well. Then you can take this. You can peg that and accordion that up. Take the legs, fold this out, fold this down, fold this out, fold this down, like so. Then you can take the legs and then rotate it so that the black parts are facing the front like so. Then from here, very simple, all you gotta do is sort of rotate these all the way around like so. Rotate this down, then you can rotate this around, rotate the fist. Same thing here, so you can rotate this all the way down, rotate this, do that, like so, rotate the fist. And then to complete his look, all you gotta do, take the fusion cannon, you see you got a peg right there, you got a peg hole right there, and then you just gotta tab that in. And then for this, you have a tab there, and then you have a slot there on the forearm. You just gotta peg that right in. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Deluxe Class Megatron in his really, really good-looking robot mode. And so, guys, when talking about this guy's robot mode, it is really, really good, and I think that they pretty much nailed it. I mean, I have really no major complaints with this thing, because he cleans up really well. You'll see he's very well articulated. He's very accurate to the source material from what we saw in the movie on screen. Honestly, this guy is a home run, in my opinion. The only, I guess, qualm I'll technically have with this, there's just one major one, and then there's a couple, like, nitpicky ones. The nitpicky one I'll get out of the way is that the drab gray can kind of feel a little bit cheap. Obviously, Megatron is a silver and gray character, right? That's how he's always been. But when you're putting it into a toy form, it definitely, you know, a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of the drab gray, right? Not the very, like, bland-looking gray. And so for this guy, that definitely is the majority of his color. But if you're, you know, a Megatron fan, this is how Megatron looks. I still think it looks perfectly fine. But again, someone may find it a bit boring and maybe something a bit more metallic, like something closer to the Dramatic Capture series is something that someone would enjoy more. But again, this is Deluxe, so let's be a little bit more, I guess, subverting our expectations for something like paint on this thing. But overall, still looks really good. And the other qualm I have is that when it comes to the hands, since they're molded in the treads, right, they're molded like the treads, the issue I have with that is that sometimes you can get confused with how they're supposed to be turned, or they kind of look like they blend in, and from certain angles, it doesn't look all that great. But again, let's take a look at the details. Look at the details here. His head sculpt is fantastic. That looks really good. Yeah, you can see that. They're really nice. Silver for the face. You have the red for the eyes. The really nice sort of almost smirk. The classic Megatron look. I think they did a really good job with his head sculpt. So, looks really good. I mean, I have no complaints. You have some more detail there on the side of the head as well. Coming down here, you do have some more nice detail. Nice red comes out here, obviously, from the tank mode. But the nice sort of classic Megatron, essentially like, I guess, like abdomen piece here. The black looks really good here. The arms also look pretty good as well. Overall, really happy with that. And the legs look very, very clean, and they look really, really poised. And everything is pretty much filled in. Like, there's really no hollow gaps in many different places. And plus, like I told you guys, this guy cleans up very well. Even with this, it cleans up very well. Now, like I said, you can unpeg these, and then you can peg them into his hands, but I think that looks stupid. You can, you know, play them as swords or something like that, or other handheld weapons, but I personally don't care for that. Also, the backpack, the jetpack, is actually really nicely painted as well. This gunmetal gray looks really, really good here. Would have been cool, actually, to see all of him like this, but like I said, budget and everything like that. Now, taking a look at his fusion cannon, you can see it is really tiny. That's the other issue. That's another thing I say nitpicky. The fusion cannon's pretty tiny. I do wish it was more close to the one that we saw in the final battle scene, where it was a bit bigger and had like that triple barrel. Would have been pretty cool. But this still looks good. It's just when you're standing him there, it definitely looks smaller than, you know, most of Megatron's fusion cannons have in most continuities that he has it in, right? And then this gun also looks good. You have the nice silver paint. You have the nice molded detail here. Nice, this dark gray here looks really, really nice. Overall, again, this guy is really solid looking. You even get the nice little yellow detailing on his foot there. So overall, I am very, very happy with the robot mode aesthetics, and I think that they absolutely nailed it from that perspective. And so, as per usual, we're going to do our comparison here. Instead of comparisons, we're going to do a comparison. So we are going to set Megatron off to the side here. And here is his arch rival, former best friend, Optimus Prime. Now, these two look fantastic together. And again, they scale perfectly fine with one another. I do think that I know that they were pretty much the same size in the movie, so I'm not going to knock them off at all for this. But I do wish that Megatron was just a tad bit larger like that. But I get why they're the exact same size. They're the exact same size in the movie. And so the scale is perfectly fine. Again, that's just sort of my Megatron like scale coming out of me, like wanting him to be bigger, because obviously I just reviewed the SS86 G1 Optimus Prime, right? And so obviously the Earthrise one technically should be bigger, like the continuity, he should be bigger, and he's not, right? And so that is coming out here, but again, the scale is perfectly fine. That's just coming from me, right? Alrighty, folks, and now it's time to get into the articulation, which is really, really good for just a deluxe class figure. So you have a ball joint at the head, and you can look down like this. That's really for transformation, but you can do a full 360, which is really, really nice. Can't really look up at all. I mean, you'll just pull the head off. You can do a full 360 because they're ball joints at the shoulders. You can go out, you can go in. You have more than 90 with the double jointed elbow, which is really, really nice. And then you actually have wrist articulation, which you never really get in a lot of deluxe figures. You also do get full waist. My waist joint is actually kind of tight, which is nice to see. It's not overly tight, but it's tight enough. Actually, you can't. Oh, I thought you could do... Oh, no, you can. There it is, yeah. I was just running into something. I think it was just running into the backpack, so you might need to fold that up just a little bit. You can kick forward that far. You can kick back about that far. You have a rotation here at the knee, and then you do have a bend a little more than 90 technically, but really, it's realistically just 90. There's no joint here, even though there looks like there is. But yeah, ankle rocker as well. You get a pretty... okay amount, like it's nothing crazy, like it exists, so you can't get the widest poses out of this guy, but overall, when it comes to the articulation, I think this guy is a pretty damn good articulated figure for a deluxe class figure. So yeah. Alrighty guys, and now it's time to get into the reverse transformation, which is just as fine as getting him to his robot mode. Not really frustrating at all. I wouldn't call it simple. It's nicely complex, but not frustrating. So getting into it, first thing I like to do is to take the fusion cannon and this gun off of his arms, and then you can just do this and peg them out. How I like to peg it in is make sure that both of these tabs are facing down so that you get that really nice straight barrel. So we'll set this off to the side for now. We'll straighten this guy out. I'm going to actually lift this up as well. Now, the one thing I didn't mention, and I apologize for this, I thought I did, but you have these two pegs, and this is where this the backpack can rest. I didn't mention that, but yeah, that's where those are. So you're gonna want to take this and just I like to unpeg it right away. And what you can do is you can rotate the hands so that the bottom of the tread, so that they're facing the bottom of the treads, right, like that. So if you have it like that, you'll probably face them up, the fists upwards like that. Do the same thing here. Then we can straighten out the head, and what I like to do is you can take this, you open that, rotate the head all the way around, and then you can fold this all the way down. Then you can take this whole section and start to fold it up, like so. Then when you've done that, you can fold these out. What I like to do is you can rotate the arms around as well, and then you have these little tabs here, and then these little holes, and you just do that. Same thing here, so rotate this around so that this tab hole is facing that tab, and then you can just accordion that, and you can get... that. Sorry, that took a second. I don't know why that took longer than it did. Now what you can do is take this section, fold it up for the legs, fold that down, fold it up, fold it down, and then you can fold this and press it down. And what you'll essentially do is this will essentially tab into place. You'll feel the click. Then from here, what I like to do, you can take this back section and the legs, you can fold those up. Take these tread sections, fold them out. Take the feet, fold the toes, and point them downwards. Then what you can do is rotate these around like so, and then you kind of have to push them up a little bit more to point them up like that, right? Yes. And then what you can do is you can rotate these around as well, like so. Same thing here. So again, once you folded that, rotate it all the way around. Then you can just rotate this entire assembly like so. Make sure this is staying in place. And what you can do here is take these sections, fold them down, then rotate them. Sorry, excuse me. Once you have it like this, rotate them down, rotate them like so, rotate them like this, and then rotate them like so. Then from here, you can take this and twist it all the way around, make sure it stays tabbed in place, and then sort of line all these sections up. Now, these parts don't tab, but this does. So you'll notice that there is a tab hole right there on either side. And then you'll notice if you look under, there's a tab right there. This tab will go into that hole. So you just got to accordion it. This is probably the most frustrating part because the foot likes to get in the way. So sort of just push down like so. This always gets annoying for me. Like that. There. Now you can tab that into place. Should be perfectly fine. And then you can fold this all the way down for the tread. Same thing here, so just take this section, accordion it, and then you'll see you just gotta push past the foot, which is the annoying part. You can tab that all into place, make sure that's folded down, set this guy down, and then what you'll see here is on top of where the fusion cannon part is, you can have that little hole right there, and then there's a tab in there. You just gotta tab that back into place. If I can line it up correctly, stupid. There we go. And there's the tank barrel finished. Make sure everything is pressed. Press down, make sure he's flat. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class Transformers 1 Megatron back in his very cool looking tank mode. And so guys, for my final and concluding thoughts on the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Deluxe Class Megatron, this guy is really, really good, and I think he's a fantastic figure to pair alongside your Deluxe Class Optimus Prime. When it comes to the tank mode, first and foremost, I think it's really solid. The only things that I have an issue with are really just the lack of rolling wheels, so the guy can't really roll. And in addition to that, I also feel that the tank barrel, like the whole assembly, comes off pretty easily just rotating it without too much effort. So just be careful with that. But other than that, it looks really nice for a Cybertronian tank mode, and also it is pretty accurate to what we saw in the movie, despite not seeing it for a super long time. In addition to that, when you get to the transformation, it is not simple, but it's not complex to the point where it's very frustrating. It's complex enough to where it's very tasteful, and I think that's a really solid transformation. And once you get into it, it gets pretty easy to do. It's not like you have to do it a gazillion times to really figure it out. Even transforming it on your own really shouldn't be too bad without any instructions. And then finally, when you get to his robot mode, it's fantastic. It looks really accurate to the source material. Looks like you pulled him right off the screen. The only issue, again, is really it's just drab gray plastic, you know, the bland gray. I do wish maybe it was more sort of the color of the backpack, but again, it's a deluxe class figure. What can you expect? The articulation is really good. The accessories are pretty solid, although I do wish the fusion cannon was a bit bigger. I do like the accessories otherwise, though I think they look really nice. Articulation, again, is pretty solid. Details, face sculpt is really good. And overall, when it comes to the robot mode, I have no other major issues or no other thing to say besides the fact that it's just a clean robot mode, right? And so overall, out of a 10, I gotta give this guy probably like an 8 or a 9. Whatever I gave Optimus, both of them are pretty much equivalent. I definitely recommend you guys pick this guy up if you want a figure to pair alongside your Optimus, because both of these deluxe class figures, the Optimus Prime and Megatron so far, are really good, and I hope that this trend continues with the Lita 1, Bumblebee, as well as eventually Sentinel Prime. So overall, really happy with this release. I did pick mine up on the Big Bad Toy Store, so leave a link in the description to that. I'll also leave links to Hasbro Pulse as well as Amazon if you guys want to go and take a look at those retailers instead. In addition to that, if you guys do decide to hunt this guy IRL, he is hitting retailers now. I actually saw him at Walmart like a week or so ago. I just didn't end up buying it because my Big Bad Toy Store order had already shipped out, so I already paid for it. But if I didn't, then I definitely would have bought it there. So he should be hitting your retailers now, so definitely keep the eye out if you do want this figure, and I definitely wish you the best of luck if you decide to hunt IRL. And so I think that's really it for the video review, so I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also follow me in the socials. Those will be linked in the description below. And with that, guys, and once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video review, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.